And so I had so many different products. When I first started making my candles, I probably had over 20 something different fragrances. Yes, it was so I was working part-time. It was like Soy Bella was able to, help me from losing my home, help me to be able to pay bills and, do things for my kids.
If there would be one word that describes who you are, what would that word be?
Endurance. Believe in yourself enough to put in the work, and sometimes you might have to isolate yourself. Everybody can't go. You know what I mean? You can't take everybody with you, and don't be afraid to miss out. You missing out on temporary fun to build a future for yourself. You can't put a price tag on that. So yeah.
I like it.
Like a Zam, I ain't acting, I'm just speaking what I see behind the lens. Even though I'm speaking roles, the creator I am.
Manifest, elevate, you won't be okay. I'ma focus on myself either way. Give you love, give you eyes, show you the way. I plant the seeds and watch them blossom. Our soul is power, solar power. We don't fold, we don't know no cowards. We expose those who hide our power. Self-conquer, watch the rest devour.
Peace, love, prosperity, family. It's King and Light on the Move Different podcast. Today is Move Different Mondays, and I bring to you a very, very special guest, Soy Bella. Soy Bella is an entrepreneur, a mother, an artist, and a clinical medical assistant who is aspiring to become a future nurse. Miss Bella, thank you for joining Move Different podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, before I actually met you and got a chance to support your business and, get the lovely smell, your presentation online is so magnificent. It just draws someone, it compels them out of curiosity. I gotta smell this candle. I gotta see what it's like. So before we get deep into the 4 pillars, which we talk about transitioning with money, time, goals, relationships, let my audience know a little bit about, who you are, where you from, and what it is that you do.
My name is Endia. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a creator. I'm an artist. I paint. I'm a creator. I'm the owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the owner of Soy Bella Candles. I also have a skincare line as well, all natural products, including the candles. And
I love it. So, and this right here is By the Fireplace by Miss Soy Bella herself. And we have a natural lip balm that I had to use because that's one of this cheap stuff and stay away from it. I'm not going to put the store on blast, but I went to a store in the checkout line. I grabbed one of the blisters thing and it burnt my lips. After 3 days, I noticed that's what was causing it. So then I bought an Aquaphora medicated lip balm and it's kind of working 2 days. But day 3, I come across her. She presents this to me. I put it on, and that same day, it starts shedding all the burnt, dead skin. And on day 2, it was back naturally beautiful. So thank you for this gift.
You're welcome.
How can some of the viewers purchase this if it's even for sale?
They are for sale. A lot of times I'll give those away as free gifts. So of course, if I have repeat customers or, if you spend over a certain amount or, just if I have extras, I'll put in little goodies. Normally what I'll do, I'll put in little samples of other products whenever people make purchase. So that way you're able to experience what else I have. But if you're wanting to purchase, right now you can currently purchase through me. So you can reach out to me directly on Facebook or Instagram and place your order. And that's how you can get your own.
I love it. And I love the outfit, by the way. I with the African charm, my aunt symbol from Egypt, and the brown. Yeah. It's a great tone. And I love it. We're talking about a lot of naturalness in nature, which is a good vibe. We got the plant here, we got the fire, I like it. Exactly. Which, before we go into that, please tell us, I know you explained it off camera, but I'd like my viewers to know, what inspired By the Fireplace and what's included?
So By the Fireplace is a custom scent that I came up with. And so you want to know reason for
this specific candle, because I know you got some things on top. You have a crystal in there.
So all of my candles are decorated with healing crystals and dried flowers. But that particular fragrance, I actually created that fragrance, I want to say maybe like about 2 years ago now. And it was originally intended for a holiday scent. And people loved it. And I loved it. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just make it a year-round thing. And so that's what I decided to do.
And the healing crystals. And this specific one, which healing crystal is in it?
I think that one has the amethyst.
Okay. And then for those who might not be familiar with crystals, what is amethyst?
The amethyst, that one's more so for like calming, just to kind of calm you down a little bit. So I thought that would be perfect for the cozy collection by the fireplace. So being a special person and just kind of relax and be zen and have your experience in the Soy Bella candle.
And what inspired the title By the Fireplace?
Again, I created that fragrance so normally I'll have collections. And so I have my standard candles, and then I came up with the idea of having collections for my brand because I love to smell good and I love fragrances in my customers too. So the idea was to come out with a different collection where you're getting a different vessel, which is the container, a different vessel, a different fragrance, and just something different from what the standard collection is.
I like that. Okay, you pretty much your own little white bar. I love it. Soy Bella's Naturals. I love it. Okay. And I know when you was talking off camera, you mentioned that when it comes to like certain scents, there was a point in your life, or even still today, correct me if I'm wrong, that it triggered some strong, powerful migraines. So can you walk us through that? Like, what was the transition around that? Like, what happened when you noticed that you couldn't tolerate certain smells?
In 2016, I was diagnosed with, late 2015, I started having migraines, and I've never had migraines. In 2016, I went for an eye exam. The optometrist was like, okay, we need you to go see an eye specialist. Went to the ophthalmologist, and then the ophthalmologist is like, it's never good when they go, And so they're like, okay, we need somebody else. And so luckily there was a neurologist that was in the clinic at that time. And so he came in, they ran some tests. And so I have this condition, it's called idiopathic intracranial hypertension. It's a long title, but for short, it's IIH. And basically, like, one of the major side effects is I have chronic migraines. And it's annoying sometimes because some people are like, oh, I have headaches too, or oh, I have migraines. No, I have chronic migraines. And today they are controlled. But at that time, I had to have lumbar punctures, try different medicines, treatment medications, and pain medications. Over-the-counter stuff just wasn't helping. Fast forward, there was a lot of times like in between from like 2016 and between like 2020 where I was like, I would stop taking the medication because I didn't like the side effects. And then, for me, you're like false tumor or, swelling in the brain. Like if it's false, then like, what are you giving me the medication for? But the migraines were like very true. And so, in 2020, during the pandemic, I just remember like I was painting at that time and like posting my artwork online, and a few of my friends on Facebook was like, "Have you heard of American Shaman?" And so, just trying to do the more natural approach, and so I started doing the CBD, and just doing those little droplets and stuff in the gummies, and it helped. But then it was just like the coffee was like it was like a Band-Aid, so it was like I used it so much to where it stopped helping. And so I had to change my diet, added exercise in there, which I'm not too consistent with, but I'm trying.
I see you on social media. It's inspiring.
I'm trying. But so the fragrance oils that I choose and the soy wax and the wicks, I decided to go with non-toxic because like scents and light are, or smells and light, are two of my triggers, my main triggers. And so it was important for me once I created Soy Bella, it was like, okay, now like how do I separate my candle company from everybody else's? And so I just started doing more and more research, and then I stumbled upon, non-toxic fragrance oil, non-toxic wicks. So for those of you who have been supporting me from the very beginning, I actually started out with the wood wicks. And then from there, I shifted over to the hemp wicks, and like I handmade my own wicks. And the hemp wicks are also non-toxic as well. And the wooden wicks that you have in this candle right here, those are also non-toxic. So again, it was just like a lot of research and just like looking around different companies, paying attention to, just different things, like different benefits that I felt like lined up with the mission and the vision for Soy Bella. And so, so it's important for me to have, like, I love candles. I love to smell good. So if I'm going to be burning them, I don't want to be balled up in bed with migraines. So, yeah.
That's when toothaches come in night. You hold your jaw like, I'm trying to come in between the legs and hold my face.
It's real.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like the migraines are no joke. Like for any of you who have migraines, I also have a fragrance that I came up with, the Cassava eucalyptus. And so it's the honey. That's the one you have, the honeydew and the eucalyptus.
Oh yeah, the one I burned through. Hey, look, if y'all want your house to smell good, burn it forever. Then you gotta put it out. But I didn't believe her when she said you don't even have to burn it. You just take the cap off, let it sit there. I tried it in my living room, and it worked a little bit. But when I put it in my room, I closed the door. It worked so good. I was like, oh, I got to burn it now. And I burnt it, and I left it burning for a whole day. And then I come back, I'm like, that smells good. I look at my candle, it's almost gone. But it lasted so long that it's like, any regular candle, I think would have been gone. So you did a great job on that. I need another one. I need a voice. Just a whole line of those.
I got you.
I love it. So is it safe to say because of your migraines and everything and because of your love for scents, it inspired you to start making candles, or have you always been creative and artistic in that way of creating things as such?
No, so this is how Soy Bella, this is how I had stumbled upon like candle making. So a friend of mine, I was set up at the parlor. Shout out to the parlor because that's where I started.
Shout out to the parlor.
I was set up at the parlor and I had my artwork actually. And again, this is during the pandemic. And so I don't know if you all have ever been in there or not, but like on that first level, when you first walk in, they have the couches and the bookshelves and everything. And so I had my pictures on the easels. I had my resin art, which is like the coasters, the custom trays and everything. I just had this whole display, right? And so my friend and his mom comes up and they're like, he said, all you're missing is candles. You got a whole little bottle over here. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, I'm just going to brush it off. People always come to me with ideas. And, I'm like, you can't do everything, right? And so, but that kind of stuck with me because I love candles and I love to smell good. And so, and I love when my home smells good too. And so I'm like laying in bed after the event and I'm scrolling. And then I was like, okay, well, let me just buy a little kit. So I invested in a $50 candle making kit on Amazon. It came with everything, the fragrance oil, like everything you needed to make a candle, right? And so once I saw that I could do it, I was like, okay. So then I put a cart together with like the vessels that I wanted, the wicks that I wanted. I used to put the large crystals in there, still had the flowers and everything. They were colorful. I didn't even have a name for my business at the time. I was handwriting all of my labels, and I showed up that following week with a table full of like boxes of candles, and I was selling them. People were buying them.
And you didn't have no sales at this point?
No sales. Like,
you just took that leap of faith like that.
Yeah.
And how was the turnout?
It was great. Like, I wasn't too educated on the business part of it, or like my price points and stuff were way off. I was spending like a ridiculous amount on everything, but I didn't know. And so, but I was learning as I was going. I was like, okay, I don't want to I'm like that. So it's like, if I'm passionate about something, if I like something, I'm gonna jump in. And so I just started setting up, and every week I came back, it was like I learned something new. And so I was doing something different. And it was like, I think I started in September 2020. I want to say by the first of the year, I ended up coming up with Soy Bella. It wasn't me. I'm not going to take credit. It was the Holy Spirit. Mother used to say, don't say something. But I was thinking of a name, and I didn't want to just come up with anything. And I was like, Soy Bella. So Bella's my nickname. And soy. So everybody's always like, oh, your candles are so beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, beautiful soy. So in Spanish, soy is I am beautiful, or it could be beautiful soy.
I do that. Okay. That sounds dope. Yeah, you didn't share that with me last time.
I did.
I like to look. Y'all get the special. I get upgraded tips. What do you want to call it? All right, I like it. All right, and when it comes to, I mean, you mentioned not knowing the business aspect, so which it kind of helps me start off with our first pillar, which is money. It's a tough one between time and money because I know with that process of going to the doctors, getting all that, like that was time consuming, and then buying a kit, test things out, that's time consuming. And then you mentioned business, and I know money. A lot of people just big on money and they think that you need money to start a business, but like you didn't even have the in business, they'll tell you at least go get the proof of concept first. Like, go test the market. You say, no, that's I like it. Look good. Let's go. And you went. So, what were some of the money challenges and lessons that you learned on your journey that you became aware of and had to get more tight on?
I would say the money challenges would have been further, like a little later on, would have been like being able to keep up with demand and buying like the equipment and stuff that I needed, which eventually I ended up applying for a grant, a small business grant with Kansas City Gift. Shout out to Kansas City Gift. And you said what was something that I learned?
During the whole journey from the beginning with the boxes to where you at now.
Just really kind of, I think like, you know, once I started realizing, okay, I'm onto something right here, then it was like, okay, I need more money, right? And so I had met up with a friend of mine, and I'm like, you know, he was going to be a silent investor, and he believed in my business so much. He was just like, I don't want to part of your business. He was like, I'll be a silent investor. But then like by that time, like I'm meeting up with him like every week, and he was a business owner too. And he's like, you know, asking me like, what's your price point? Like, how much does it make to make one? How much is it to make one candle? You know, things I didn't even. I'm like, what? But I'm doing my homework. Like, I'm not afraid to ask questions. Like, I'm that's just me. So it's like, if I want to learn something, I'm like, teach me. So like, he was really like teaching me. You know what I mean? And he could have been charging me for that, but he didn't. For that. But so every week that I went, like I'm taking notes and I had homework. And so every time I came back, it was like, okay, I got this. And then by that time, like I'm still doing events, and I was doing an event for Kansas City Gift, one of their small business, I think it's a Saturday business market event. And she was like, you need to apply for the grant. Like, you know, I love your products. Like everybody was like, I love your products. She's like, I want you to apply for the grant. And I'm like, and so the lady that won before me, I was there that December around Christmas time, and she won. And I just remember watching her, and I'm like, this is dope. I'm like, okay, I want to do it, but I was scared. And it's crazy because the night before the deadline for the grant, I had two ladies in my home, and they were purchasing candles, and they were business owners. And I'm telling them, y'all need to apply for this grant. And then I get a text message, and it's like, I thought it was spam. And so I reached out to the lady that's over the company. And I was like, is this real? And she was like, yeah. She was like, the deadline. She was like, I need you to, you know, if you can finish that, you know, that would be great. And so I was nervous, but I went ahead and finished the interview, and I won the small $10,000, the startup.
It was small. They say $10,000.
No, it was a small business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. There
was nothing small about that $10,000 grant because
you can use it in that moment.
Like, let me tell y'all about Gift real quick. Shameless plug. So, like, with that grant, and they're still around. With that grant, I was able to get the $10,000 for 1 year. I had marketing. I had access to business coaching. What else? Accounting and bookkeeping, like all of that. And so with marketing, I was able to get an actual logo because by that time I still, like 1 year in, I still didn't have a logo. I had a name, but I didn't have a logo. And so I got like a retractable banner. I got comp cards. I got business cards. They did my website. They built everything for me. And it didn't come out of my grant either. So if you are a small business owner and you are needing, like, just even if you don't even know where to start, if you want to start a business, like, you can definitely hit up Kansas City Gift and like book you an appointment and go in there and talk to one of the business coaches, and they will get you started.
Free resources. So don't worry about me. How much is it going to cost? It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost time. That should be a tag of yours. I don't gatekeep.
I don't
gatekeep. Make it a shirt. I don't gatekeep. But in fact, speaking of that, now that you just threw that out there, now turn the conversation. How do you feel about gatekeeping?
You know what? I feel like my mother used to always tell us, you can't take it with you, right? So, like, you know, my mother, she passed, it's been 11 years now in September, and you know, like before she passed, it was like, you know, a lot of stuff that she had, like it was just material things. And she was like, I can't take it with me. Like, I'm not gonna let none of this stuff stress me out. No bills, no job, no parking, none of that stuff. Like, it's like when I'm gone, all that stuff is still gonna be here. You know, you can't take it with me. So as far as like gatekeeping for me, it's just like, what good is if it helped me, like, here's one even better. So like I love to read, right? You love to read too. So another thing my mother used to say, if you read a book and you get something from it, pass it on to somebody else. Let them get something from it. And so it's like you've already got everything you need. What are you gonna do when you don't with the book? Are you gonna read it? You may read it again, but after that, it's like it's gonna sit on the shelf. So why not pass that on to somebody else? If it blessed you or if it helped you, pass it on to somebody else that can do the same for them.
I agree. Okay. So how do you see the word gatekeeper? Not by its actual definition, but when you hear people use the word, oh, he or she's a gatekeeper or they gatekeeper, what does that mean? What are they really saying in layman's terms?
So if you got something and you know what I mean, like well for me, so it's like I have my resources, I have my information, and I'm keeping it to myself. I don't want anybody else to get it. Like, I don't want anybody else to have access to it. Like, you can't have it, it's mine. Like, I'm protecting it. It's like, what are you protecting? It's like, if you could bless or potentially help somebody else, you know, it will help you.
All right, that's different. Now, I see the reason I had to get clarity around that because I was the same way, but I see the importance of gatekeeping. But when you use the word protecting, I feel like I would gatekeep my networks. So the people that are my networks that are $1 million earners that are influencers, not just $1 million people and they move around, you know, the common folks, but those who have other networks of billionaires and corporations who have run business, I would gatekeep that access. Because if someone's like, I want to meet them, I have to play gatekeeper now because I know what their qualifications are. So if I don't gatekeep and I just bring you in and you're a representation of me who I hang around and they let me hang around them, now you can get me kicked out of this influence network or looked at differently because I didn't take the chance to vet you or prep you before introducing you into these people.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, what if it's somebody who you see, you know what? I see you serious about, you know, your craft or, you know, what you're doing, and I know somebody that will be able to help you. Let me connect you with this person. You know? Okay.
Hey, yeah, because you're ready, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but a lot of people, because when I hear most people throw the word gatekeeping around, they're not even ready. You know, they're not even coming professional. It's like so many meetings I've been in that people will show up not 15 minutes late, not 30 minutes late, 2 hours or more late. And I'll be sitting there waiting because I really want to have a meeting. I really want to visit this person. But then I think about them back in the days when, you know, people make you sit and wait just because they think that's status and popularity. Like that type of stuff, I don't like. You know what I'm saying? F that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm common with y'all. Like, don't look at me as no bigger. I'm right here with y'all. But as far as access, I think most people should gatekeep the access they have to people, not information, but people when it comes to a person wanting to take and have nothing of value to exchange, let alone a value ready to walk through the universe.
That's interesting.
So that is a growing brand. I'm telling you so. Like, I'm using gatekeep. Everybody can be calling your phone and DM up now. Like, let me get some cabs. I'm gonna have one of the Soy Bella sales reps meet up with you. They're gonna take care of you. Have a great day. I'm gonna write you a personal greeting card and sign off on it. You know what I'm saying?
I used to do that in my packages. Everybody used to have my little signature and a personal customized thank you card. And
yeah, you're gonna have your video on there. Customized video.
Yeah.
Talking about it. Thank you so much. You know,
Thank you for supporting.
Pour into them. So, when you had won that grant, how did it make you feel?
Man, it was like I could breathe. Like I wasn't like, you know, like at the time I was working part-time in an after school program. I was teaching art and I had a couple other programs that I was doing with the middle schoolers and stuff. And so like it was part-time, right? But I'm grateful for that job because I was able to pursue my business full-time. But it was like money was coming in, but it was going right back out to bills and, you know, like restocking products and stuff. And I was kind of crazy in the beginning of my business. Like I was just coming up with an idea. Somebody was like, "Oh, I want this. If I can make it, I'm gonna do it." And so I had so many different products. When I first started making my candles, I probably had over 20 something different fragrances.
Mm.
Yes,
You
it
know,
was.
chain on.
So if you hit me up and was like, "Oh, what kind of," like I had to create like a whole little thing and just copy and paste it and send it, and it was too much. But like winning the grant, like I said, like I was able to get like I had access to all these different resources, but I was also able to invest in like larger equipment so I could make or equipment to where I could make larger amounts of my products and stuff. I had a team, you know what I mean? Like even though it was still just me, like I had people in my corner who like, oh, okay, you need help with accounting bookkeeping. Oh, okay, you need some marketing tips. Oh, okay, you need to come in and sit with a business coach and, talk to me about some ideas. For a whole year, I had, even now, like not even like I won the grant in 2021, but to this day, like I can log on to KimCityGift.org and book an appointment to go in and talk with a business coach for free. They even have classes and stuff now, so it was very helpful. It was a blessing. Like it was like just knowing that I had this money. Like I already had my parts and stuff together. Like before I won the grant, and it was like once I did, I was like, all right, everything I need to like just set myself up, and like it just flowed. So I was like applying for different events as a vendor, and I was able to pay for, whether it was $500, $300 for a vendor fee for a larger event. I was able to do that, and I had enough products to go in there and do, to serve that capacity of a crowd, I guess.
Right. Okay, so when you was doing all that, did any fear ever creep in the middle of that process? And then what caused it?
I wouldn't say fear. Because I mean, once I won the money, it was like the biggest problem was out the way. The money, like to keep up with the demand and all of that. So really, it was just like I was out there. I had a whole foot injury. I was on crutches and everything, still plugging my stuff, like doing events, like to where one day I did like 2 events. I did events the whole week, and then like by that Sunday I was doing an event. I was limping going in there. Like I had like it hit my foot. It had got infected. I had an injury, and it was swollen. I'm limping, and this girl, her dad was like, "You need to go to the emergency room." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." And I was in pain, like a lot of pain, but I smiled through it. I pushed through it, and the next day I went to the emergency room, and they was like, "Yeah, we glad you came in here finally." And I sat down for a little bit, but that's how I took care of my family. Even though I was working part time, it was like Soy Bella was able to, help me from losing my home. Help me to be able to pay bills and do things for my kids. And so, I don't know what I did.
Yeah, see, that's why I said
I was getting you need to be sitting down. Why are you? But I mean, it's like if I ain't gonna do it, who's gonna do it?
See, that's why I asked about fear, if any, because taking care of kids, and we didn't talk about that. How many kids do you
have? I have 2 children. I'm surviving teenagers, y'all.
Surviving teenagers. That's not a TV
Not
show.
a babe.
Boy and girl.
I have one of each. My daughter is 16 and my son is 14. He'll be 14 on the 21st.
So I'm gonna say, man, you told me I was saying you got the same birthday. All right, it's coming up too. I forgot. I'm like Sunday. Damn, that's birthday. Okay, Sunday. Okay, yeah, and I still got work that. So
yeah,
I ain't gonna do too much. A little bit of self care early in the day, and then treat myself to a breakfast and lunch, champion lunch I call it. Yeah. Workout, because I like it's like a recharge and reset to a new life, a new run, a new cycle. So that's what I do.
That's what I did for my birthday.
And I like getting bougie.
Self-care.
Yeah. So before we transition to the next thing, which is time, because I know that process, having a team, you know, like living on your foot, you going to these vendors. I know it takes time to set up things. It takes time to pack. It takes time to build rapport with the customer. So I know it's a lot of sales going on in there. I know you're attracting women. You're probably scents and fragrance. So it's like you're not even just attracting professional business. You might be attracting personal business. But before we get into the time and how, like, what was the lessons you learned around time and money mindset? What is your philosophy around money? Is it a scarcity one? Is it a hustler by any means? Like, how would you, based on the books you read, based on your experiences, when you think about money, what is the philosophy you have around that?
My philosophy up until now has been do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Do what you gotta do until you can do what you wanna do. That's what a friend of mine used to tell me. I grew up in a single parent household. It was six of us in the house at one time. It was like four at one time. And my mother was just always like doing what she had to do, and also like putting her dreams and stuff off until we were a certain age, so she could. I understand that, but for me, I'm like, nah, like, I'm doing now. I gotta do it now, and but yeah, it's, I think it's just always been like hustle, go get it, get it how you can get it.
Where do you think you got that mindset from? Since you said your mom was putting it off to the side, where did you get it from?
She hustled in other ways, right? And so my daddy, he was a hustler. But like my family, like I come from a family of hustlers. And my grandfather was a business owner. They had to make my grandfather retire, like you know what I mean. And so I think it was just like you see it, you grow up and you see people like I didn't see people just sitting around not doing anything. Like people was always, what I mean, if you need something, go get it. You know.
Some people don't see it. Like, hey, me, unfortunately, I didn't grow up seeing that in the legal route. Because my father was retired by the time he had me and my other brother. And my mom was a full functioning drug addict, still is today. Never had a job, never had a car. In and out of the home, in and out of jail, in and out of there was some centers we go to rehab. So it's like I didn't get to see that. So when I seen the money, it was my uncle, my other brothers on her side. My dad, two different wives, two different women. So I'm the youngest of 11 siblings. 10, 11 siblings, my older sister. I'm the youngest male. 7 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and I mean, so I'll say this, like my dad, like he was did the street hustle and stuff, and I ain't gonna sit up and be like my childhood growing up, like I didn't get to see that version of my dad. I got to see the version of when you know what I mean, like it was kind of one of those like he was before I was born, like my older siblings, they got to see him in the flashy jumpsuits and the nice cars and all that. But by the time, fast forward by the time we were coming around, me and my two younger brothers, my dad worked on cars. He always had a different type of hustle, so I got to see that side of him. It was like, okay, he was gonna work on a car. You know what I mean? Or if there was something that needed to be done, he was gonna figure out how to do it. My mother used to have this saying, or she would say this to me all the time, India, you are wasting your gifts. And I did not know what she meant by that. Like I would come and show her my artwork, and she'd be instead of her just saying like, "I like it, that's cute," she'd just shake her head and look at me. And she'd be like, "You're wasting your gifts." I didn't know what she meant by that until after they both had passed. But and a lot of times she would say, "You're just like your dad, like you're wasting your gifts." So like I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like we talk about drugs and stuff like that, drinking. Like my dad went through that, as well. And like it was a lot of things, other things that he could have done, with his gifts and talents. But sometimes we choose different paths, and some people they can get out of that and pick themselves up and kind of change things around. Some people, they can't, and some people, it may be too late. So I feel like with my dad, I really wish, I always thought was great in him, but I didn't get to see that flashy side of him. I got to see the grungy, like working under the cars and, oil and stuff on him. But one thing about my daddy, like he might not have had like flashy stuff, like when we were coming up, but he was gonna make sure he was clean and smelling good. Like he wasn't gonna let you come around him and he wasn't, shaved and had his Irish Springs.
It's gonna smell fresh,
smell fresh, but yeah.
I love it. Okay. Time. So with the challenges, nice. My viewers are mostly millennials and Gen Z. So millennials 18 and 35. But when I'm out there talking to people while doing networking events, it's the 25 to 35-year-olds, even some 40, 50-year-olds, but mainly, let's say 25 below. they don't know what their purpose is, or they feel stuck, or they're just all over the place, start, stop, in and out of intimate relationships, still facing traumas of their family, household relationships,
You read my mail.
friends.
No,
Read my mail. Hey, I'm telling you, hey, it's life. It's a lot of stuff that be in common
I'm a
if
little
people
bit
just
older, but
open up and express.
still
We ain't that
attached.
much.
No, I'm just
We in the same generation. So when you since you spoke on the mail, since you experienced that, what are some lessons around time management that you had to come to conclusion with?
Right. Of course, tomorrow's and promise, and just like the biggest thing, like just being organized. That's something I'm still learning at 38, right? Like just
Same.
like that's why I'm mindful when people come to me with like ideas and stuff like that. When you come to me with an idea and it's structured and like it's clear, it's like, okay, I can see it. But if you just throwing ideas at me and it's like, you know what I mean? Oh, you should do this, or you need to do this, or whatever. I'm like, like I got, I'm a mother. I just finished school in June. That was my birthday gift to myself. To thank you. So I'm a licensed clinical medical assistant, and I'm going back for my nursing degree soon. But yeah, just kind of prioritizing. Like I did take a break towards the end of around this time last year with Soy Bella, and I have teenagers, right? So it's like they're getting older. So if you think about it, the first 3 years of Soy Bella, I'm like bending, like going crazy, working at the school. You know what I mean? And you get a lot of guilt in there as a parent because it's like you feel like um, they're always gone, like they're always working. And, for me, it was like when I was home, my whole downstairs was like my studio slash warehouse slash, like just everything. It was Soy Bella artwork. And so like we basically lived like upstairs and everything downstairs except for the kitchen and the extra bathroom was like my workspace. And it was important for me to just prioritize and like just look at what was important and just trusting God, like, you know what I mean? Like he's always provide and like make a way and not necessarily chasing money, but walking in my purpose and being intentional with what I'm doing and making a plan. My older brother, he always, tells me like, write it down. Like, you got all these ideas, write it down. And I did it, but it's like, don't just write it down and like do like me and tuck all these ideas away, but like write it down and make a plan to, execute. And
that's one of my. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, but I grew up Baptist and Pentecostal. And one of my favorite scriptures that I had came across 5-6 years ago. It was hits me people. I missed Jake's YouTube video, and it was the scripture when it says, "Write the vision plain among tablets, so he who readeth it may run that readeth it." Wait, make how's it go? Make the vision plain and write it on tablets, so he who readeth it may run that readeth. Mm-hmm. And that's why people, I had to check my cousin too. If you're watching this, I know, like, check who. I don't mean it like that, but you know who we talking about. Because she's older than me, she is my elder. But, people always quick to just regurgitate what they grew up hearing. When you hear, tell God a plan, watch him laugh. The scripture said, my people suffer because they my people suffer because they have rejected knowledge. And then said, where there is no vision, people perish. Where there is no vision, people perish. But then this other scripture says, make the vision plain and write it on tablets. Yeah. So to me, that sounds like a plan. Yeah. So where y'all getting this from? Playing and watch God laugh, like trying to tell God your plan and watch him laugh. Like, no, that's totally opposite of scripture.
It is, but I understand like what people mean when they say that, because a lot of times, like I might have plans for myself, or I might see myself somewhere, and I don't know that God's really up there like, oh, is that you laughing at me? But he might be like, girl, like I got something bigger, much bigger in store for you. You know what I mean? So like I get that saying. People just be saying stuff
Yeah, but see,
sometimes.
I even see where you going with that. Makes more sense what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like, it can have something bigger, better.
Yeah.
It might give you a little
Like you
taste of
think it's
it.
small, like I got like what I got for you is so much because you were mine and you believe in me. Like what I got in store for you because I feel like we are all like created with gifts. Like I was working at Sprint and this is like in 2016 when I first got into that. Well, I used to draw and I used oil pastels and I didn't start painting until 2016. And that was when I was diagnosed with the IIH. And so, like, one day I got off of work, me and the kids, our favorite thing to do was to go to Walmart Supercenter on payday and just kind of walk through so we can get groceries and everything else. And the Holy Spirit was like, go to the art aisle. I didn't even know Walmart had an art aisle. I went back there, got like a 2-pack of like 24 by 30 canvases, grabbed some different colors of paint, a little multi-pack of paintbrushes, palette, went home, got some tarp, and I like laid everything out and I just started like painting. And then I started working on this painting, and it was a painting to myself, a message to myself. And so the painting was basically a woman, and I still have it to this day, but it's me. My hair is my crown, so it's like I have this fro, and then like there's like a print, like gold, like kind of like outlining and stuff, like throughout it, like that's my crown. And then my hands were hearts, and so it's like I got my tattoos and everything. So this hand is going across here, and it's a heart. And then this hand is like, covering up my lady hearts. And it's a heart. And so like when I posted, everybody's like, oh, like how much do you charge to paint? I'm like, what? So there, same thing. Google, like, what do artists charge? How do you charge for artwork? Like what do normal, what do other like artists charge and things like that? So I had to figure that part out. But as I'm doing that, and it's like I'm getting more and more excited about just painting. And it wasn't even about like people buying my work. It was like it was healing me, And like my son, he like my kids, both of them at that time were like painting. Well, they were drawing with me. So anytime I was painting, and I was painting from sun up to sundown. And my son was right there with me with his, sketch pad, my daughter on the other side. And so I went to work, and one of my coworkers is an older lady. She came up to me and I remember she just started crying. She was like, I'm so proud of you. She was like, she's like, I'm, 60 something years old. She's like, and I still don't know my purpose. She's like, you found your purpose. And I'm like, I did, and she's like in tears. And I just remember like, oh. So we're like holding hands, and she's like, praying over me and stuff and hugging me. And she spoke Proverbs 18:16 over me. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before a great man or many men. And so, like, at that time, like, I remember hearing it, and I was like, oh, it gave me chills. And so I came back, and I was like, this September. I was like, what was that scripture? She was like, girl, I don't remember. She was like, we were just lost in the spirit. And so I ended up finding the scripture. And so, like, I still stand on that. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, we were all, I truly believe we were all created with a purpose. And, your gifts will make room for you. It's been times where I didn't know where our next meal was going to come from, or, how a bill was going to get paid, or just having extra money in my pocket, period. And I'm like, I can look around in my house even to this day and be like, okay, I can go make some candles. I can paint a picture. I can make this. I can, you know what I mean? Like, and these are things that I'm passionate about. And I'm able to, with these things, I'm able to connect with other people, with them and make money off of it. So,
Okay. So, the podcast is called Move Different.
Yeah.
So with the time, what's different about how you go about time now versus when you first started doing this?
Before I was just all over the place. Like, oh, you have an event, you gotta open up to do a better over there. Like, okay, and so it's like now again I have teenagers, you know what I mean? And just thinking more like long term, and also making sure I'm present and able to be present, and able to be home more with my kids. I feel like, I've always been hustling, just out there just trying to, not necessarily chasing money, but, just always working, right? And so like now I feel like I appreciate it more, and just prioritizing things. And so like, I switched over to the medical field, one, because I love helping people, but then two, it's like, this is something where, not that Soy Bella can't, but like right now, like this is a field that I can enter into and create stability for, me and my kids. And so still be able to do Soy Bella.
Yeah. So before we go on to the next topic, I'm not gonna say which one it's gonna be, but what is the goal with Soy Bella?
Hmm. The goal for Soy Bella, I want it to be a household name. I feel like it already kind of is like here locally, but like I want it to go beyond Kansas City. And I want to like Soy Bella is an extension of my artistry. So it's like all of my candles, like everything I do is like it's art. Like this is art.
Mm-hmm.
And so just kind of creating like something where you're at like a one-stop shop. So like you want to come, you want to get some home decor, you want to get some artwork for your walls, you want some candles, you want some different accent things like the trays, posters, things like that.
You do make
You want
those,
some,
don't you?
yeah, and you want to customize like table. Like I've made a clock out of a canvas before. Maybe I can make this if you want me to make. If you want something, like tell me what it is. I'm gonna research it. I'm gonna figure it out and figure out how to make it. I'm gonna make it.
I love it.
But the skincare line, like all of this, so I want it to be, a one-stop shop, like, and just even beyond the store, like I have like just so many different ideas for Soy Bella, because like I said, I am beautiful, so it's like my products, like my artwork, like everything I make, like I make it with the intent to make other people feel good, smell good, and healing. I put the healing crystals in there. It's just like you do whatever you choose with them. Some people don't believe in the healing crystals. Um, to each his own. Like it could be art to you. Like a lot of people buy my candles and they don't burn them. Like they just have them for decoration. Like, especially the tins, they're like, I don't even want to burn this. I have the 3D little bubble candles too. People are like, oh my God, these are so cute. I don't even want to burn it. I don't want to see it melt. You do what you choose.
That part.
It's
No,
yours.
me, I want the glass sitting around more. So I'll burn the cans because them was just, I don't know if it's the can or what you put in it. Like they say, you put the foot in the food and all that. I don't know what you put into it. But that can is just so, man. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Like I'm besides your brand, it'll be Woodwicks. I mean, that's the one I'm like. That's the biggest brand I buy. Sometimes I go to Brother Pro Factory, find some clearance and grab it. But I don't do that. Like if I can't get a hold of you, and you unfortunately don't have nothing, and I'm impatient, I'll go with it. But other than that, not one Wix, one sticks, whatever they company is. But I'm gonna stick with yours. But I was gonna go with goals next in October, but I kind of asked you that what's your goal with Soy Bella, the brand. So I got more goal question I want to ask you, but with the time navigating motherhood, navigating starting a small business, having it all in home, the manufacturing, prioritizing time that you said you realized you had to do that, it brings me into relationships. So I had, who was it? I don't know if it was Snoop Dogg, Lasker, or somebody. There's some artist was watching an interview, and they asked them, "So what happens to your relationships?" Kobe. It was Kobe. He was like, "So what happens to your relationships when you focus on being a great and putting that time in?" He's like, "Oh, they suffer. They
Yeah.
suffer." And then Snoop was talking about his relationships. He called it closing the gap. He said, "It's you. It's your homies." So in order to that, you got to come down and close that gap. Well, they got to catch up to you. And I ain't coming down. If I'm coming down, I'm skipping a beat. I'm losing money on promotion, like everything. I can't take care of my family, so I got to get this money. So when it comes to you, relationships, once you took initiative to launch your business and being a mother, what happened to your friendship relationships? What happened to any intimate relationships you had in at the moment? And how is the professional relationships today?
Let's see. Friendships. I would say, I don't want to say I lost a good friend. We just, sometimes you outgrow people. And, I think with this particular relationship, it was, for me, I had to come to like, again, like I have 2 kids, and it's like my motivation for behind, like me building my business and just me moving the way that I move. It's like, okay, I got to make sure we good, and so it was just like, a lot of times, like what I saw, like in this particular friendship or relationship, it was like, you know, um, what I would say is, we were just going, we had we were going 2 different directions. And it came down to, okay, look, I don't want to try to push you into doing something or being something that you're not ready to be. But I also, like you said, like Snoop was saying, but I also don't want to feel like I can't move, a certain way, or I can't move forward. You know what I mean? Because in fear of, jeopardizing our friendship, it's like, I got to do what's best for me and my family. So I kind of, we kind of went our separate ways, and it sucked because, you know what I mean? Like, she was somebody who I was like really, really close with. And I definitely appreciated her and valued her as a friend. Like, she would come to my events and stuff like that, and, come out and help me. She was very supportive. But it was just, like conversations and things like that. Like, I'm real big on like, it ain't even who all gonna be there. It's like, what we talking about when we over there? Like what type of conversations are we having? Are we having conversations about, you know what I mean, like goals and like moving forward solutions and things like that? Or are we sitting up, not saying that she was telling people, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Or are we sitting up talking about people, or, you know what I mean, just like being unproductive? As far as like, intimate relationships, it's crazy because I was telling my sister the other day, I feel like, like I have more issues with male customers than I do with female customers. Um, about just, maybe with the whole, I would say with the whole like respecting, just me as a person, and then also respecting like, my business and what I'm doing. And then so like, say if I do start talking to a guy or I'm dating a guy, it seemed like sometimes like they would start out like, oh, I support you. I respect what you're doing. Like, I see what you're doing. And then it was like, if you see me interacting with other men, or if you see me, just in my element, like just, being me and doing me. Oh, well, you being too friendly, no, it's called good customer service. And I'm gonna get that to any and everybody that come to my table, because that's who I am. Like, you can't never say you came to Soy Bella's table and you had a bad experience. You can't. Not with me, not when I was sitting there.
Not when I was in cast and no cast.
Okay. Hey, but so, again, it, like for me, I'm like, I'll stay in a relationship or I'll fight for a relationship if I felt like, you added to me, or, you know what I mean? Like, we add into each other. But if I feel like, you holding me back, or I feel like, you know what I mean, I can't like get to where I'm trying to get to, like, we just gotta go our separate ways. Professional relationships, I'm really big on networking. I love meeting people. I love learning. I love being around people who are where I'm trying to go. Like, it's inspiring. It doesn't intimidate me. Like, if anything, it gets me excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can know, like, you can know so much more about. I could be in a room with people who have degrees on degrees on degrees. That don't intimidate me none. Like, how do I get one?
That part, yeah.
How do I get one? Like, teach me, you know what I mean? Like, and not even just coming out and, asking them, but like just like watching them, you know what I mean? Studying people. Like, I'm a study. I got that from my mother. If I want to know something, I'm gonna study and research and figure it out. And if I can't do it, then I'm gonna come to you and ask you questions. So that's another thing I'm big on. Like, I'm not gonna come to you and ask, can you show me how to make candles? Can you show me how to do this? No, I'm gonna do the research and get as much as I can done on my own, and whatever I can't, so I'm not wasting time. Then I'm gonna be like, because I'm not too proud to ask questions or anything. Like, I'm gonna ask you, like, I'm gonna come to you like, okay, look, I've done this, but I can't figure out how to get to here. Can you help me?
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Fortunately, I'm the whole hand. So, show me how to make this candle. I'm the hand, because it's like, because you, I don't say you, but people, they cannot deny that. I think it's 5. But it's definitely more than 4 learning styles. And out of those learning styles, you got the obvious that they talk about, which is some people are verbal learners, some people are audio learners, some people are visual, and some people are hands-on. And it's other types that they have learned. And Dr. Kufu Kawaza, I think, Dr. Kawaza, his last name, he teaches a lot about Black boys and educational system and stuff like that. And he broke it out long as that. I got on my Instagram page, and I love it. I'm putting them up on my wall. He's one of my role models now. But yeah, no, like me, I'm a hands-on learner. I learn best hands-on, but not by myself. Yeah. I create great by myself. I need to be an introvert. I need to draw upon the spirit realm, the cosmic force as a whole, ritual routine when I create. I have to set the tone of space before I create. But I also look good. I'm also good and love working with others. I'm a great team player. But when it comes to learning something new and foreign, do not give me no book. Do not give me no speech. Because the same way people throw ideas at you, you go, oh, shit. Like, no, it's the same way. Okay, I'm buying it. Before I buy something, it's too many times I'm traumatized. I go buy something, and people like, no, not that. You supposed to get the. I'm like, see, I send you the picture then. I'm gonna got the right one. I tell you the brand. So it's like it's too. I had too much experience in the. You should have did this. You should have grabbed this. You should have. Just show me hands on. So, because now once I'm hands on with it, it's like writing skills. It's synchronicity. It's going to sync. It's going to be embedded. It's going to be second nature. So now when I fall out and I forget something, damn, what she say? I ain't got to think about what you said. I can close my eyes and now visualize and remember that moment and everything process like, oh yeah. And I can recollect and go from there. And then if I still don't get it, now I can call you, hey, what I do? I'm at this part. Now you can tell me how I do it.
See, I like a book because I'm a highlighter. If y'all ever see any of my like books that I'm reading or textbooks or anything, I've got it color coded. I've got all this stuff. So it's like I'm a visual in that sense of like I need to be able to go back so I can, and I like to read out loud when I read too. So it's like I guess that's the audio too that I'm doing. But then it's like, if you're gonna show me something visually, like step by step how to do something, it's okay. Okay, I can do that too. But it's like once I've done all that, it's like, okay, right now let me take all this that I've learned and I'm gonna go over here. I'll be right back. So let me go over here and try to figure this out and try to do this. And it's like, okay, then I can come back to you and show you what I've done. And like somebody comes to me, I've had people come to me all the time. Can you tell me how to make candles? Can you tell me how to do this or whatever? I don't mind doing that. I won't I don't gatekeep. However, I'm not gonna give you my recipe. I'm not gonna give, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm gonna tell you enough to where if I started my business without a name. I'm talking about. I told you I had 20 something different fragrances.
Mm-hmm.
Of each fragrance, I was making sure that I had at least like 12 to 18 of each fragrance, like lined up, handwriting each of those labels. Like who has the time to do that? But I have your penmanship too, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, so it's like, I don't mind, like, I'll tell you enough, but it's like for me, I want to see like what are you going to do on your own? Like, are you coming to me and just want me to tell you whatever because you see, oh, she's selling candles, she's making money off of this. Tell me how to do the same. If you ain't passionate about it, you're not gonna have the same outcome anyway. You're not gonna have the same motivation to get up and do it. I can make 100 something candles in less than 24 hours. Like once I got everything I need to make it, I know how to block everybody out, put my favorite show on, put my favorite playlist on, whatever. Have my setup, and I'm gonna do the setup, like the tables and everything the night before, so that and have my candles prepped, putting the labels and everything on it, so where all I gotta do is just start melting wax and pouring. And then just, I know how long it's going to take for the candles to set and dry. And then I go back in and I add my stuff on top of it. Then I might take a break for a minute and I'm labeling. Within 24 hours, I can do 100 plus candles and I can do more than that. You know what I mean? If I wanted to, you know what I mean? Like, just because like, it's not work for me. Like, I'm like, in my house, it makes my house smell good.
Small little benefit there.
Yeah,
major key alert.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So goals. Actually what's the goal with, the brand Soy Bella. But you mentioned painting, crafts, building tables, being a clinical medical assistant, aspiring nurse, a mother. So it's a lot of goals I can ask you about that. Like, what's your goal as a mother now? Do you plan on having any more kids? Do you plan on getting married? I can ask you goals around your artist's work. Is it to have a whole collective, a one-stop shop? Is it only to be remote business? Do you want to go into an over 100 employee type company? You want to be on Fortune? There's so many goals we can do with that. So the first thing I want to ask you is, have you always been a goal-oriented person?
I would say I've always been a creative. I don't think that I really got into the whole entrepreneur mindset until um, even when my artwork, like I was selling my paintings, but I wasn't considering myself or thinking of myself as an entrepreneur until I started launch Soy Bella. Um, what was the
The question is, have you always been a goal-oriented person? So, like, think from the last 2 years of high school up until whatever transition and mindset shifts that happen all through your life once you start having kids and everything. Have you always been a goal-oriented person?
Like, in high school, I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted to do. Like when I graduated, like I didn't graduate with my class. I had to go to night school, so I feel like if I could just be completely transparent, I was the F up. I was that kid that was fighting and getting in trouble. Hands and feet. No, I'm just
So like, we get these bowls like Luda said.
I just used to know, but so it was like, it was that. And like I said, if I could be completely honest, like my senior year, once I realized I wasn't walking the stage with my class, I told my mother, I was like, well, that's the case. I want to work full time so I can get the money to pay for my night classes. And then, like, I don't want to just be sitting up in here, everybody else, you know what I mean, going walking the stage. And it's crazy because my senior year, one of my high school friends, like, I painted her boombox. I used to paint on my clothes, like decorate my clothes and stuff. I did some senior hoodies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I used to do hair. I taught myself how to braid hair. So I always had like different hustles and different ways to, make money. Like I said, it was 6 of us. My junior year in high school, my mother was like, she came home from school shopping for my brothers. And I'm like, all right, where my stuff? She was like, all right, you're going to have to figure out how you going to get your clothes. I got the boys' stuff. I remember being like, but by that time, I taught myself how to braid hair. So I had customers for that. I was going to raise some leads for my uncle or do it like, I'm going to call you and be like, can I make, you got something I can do to make some money? And so like fast forward my senior year, I was doing that. And so we talk about goals, like, I feel like that really kind of shattered my goals or like just my whole, like the whole mind frame of like dreaming. Like once I realized I wasn't going to walk with my class. And so, I just like, listen. And you know what I mean? Like, so I really didn't start like really getting serious about like my goals until 2000. I had my son in 2010. I went to school 2011. And I was going for my associates in arts. But at that time, I had my kids were younger and I was taking care of my mother. My mother had stage 4 cancer. And so it was like, I was working part time. So I'm like, I'm in school full time. My mother, she's out here at my house and I'm running back and forth. I'm going to school from 9 a.m. until the afternoon, running back out, to my place to make sure she's good. My kids are at daycare, and then I'm like, all right, cool. Then I go to work for a few hours. And so it was like I just always been like doing what I had to do, right? So like, again, like not really, because I was still undecided on what I wanted to go to school for when I was in school. And then when my mother passed, it was like things just kind of, and then my dad died 9 months after my mother. So it was like, all right. So again, it's like, it was almost like a flashback of me being in high school. Okay, you're not going to walk with your class. Like I put in all this work, you know what I mean, for school. And it was like, I felt like it was my fault. I wasn't educated on like dropping classes and stuff like that. So my completion rate basically dropped. And so I ended up losing my financial aid. I was placed on academic probation that spring of 2013 and my mother passed that fall of 2013. And so again, like fast forward, like I ended up leaving Kansas City, like packed me and my kids up, we left. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I was gonna go crazy. Like I'm like 2 people who like played major roles in me and my kids' life, like, and I was there for all, you know what I mean, to the very end. And like I seen a lot of stuff all the way up until then. So it was like I had to get away. And it was like I left and all I could do was like, oh, he's only gone for I was away long enough to where it was like, and I read the Les Brown book, Live Your Dreams. Somebody recommended, one of my Facebook friends recommended me that book, and I remember reading it while I was out there in Arizona. And I'm like, I actually gifted that book to somebody else too.
Yes,
Like I read it twice and then I gifted it. But I came back and it was like I had a whole new mindset, and it was just like, I was still doing a little hustling or whatever, to make ends meet. But then it was like I got into sales, and it was like, oh, I got in there. I was talking about like the general manager standing over my shoulder watching me closing sales and stuff. Like, I'm like, yes. He was like, no, you could keep working. Like, they were just fascinated because it was like, okay. So I started believing in myself, say, okay, I can do something. Like, this is something I can do. And then I got into art, my art and things like that. And so, again, we talk about like goals. So I really didn't start setting goals for myself really until I saw like my potential. Like, I saw like what my mother was saying, like, oh, you're wasting your gifts. So like I'm doing art shows. Like I was out, my kids was with me. We walk in the streets, like finding places to set up. Before Soy Bella, I was finding canvases.
Mm-hmm. I like how you said that.
I was I was like anywhere if you was gonna let me set up, I was gonna go. Like, if you go back and ask like the 20-year-old Endia, like, would you be able to talk in front of people? Heck no. I cried in my speech class with my flash drive. I had a virus on it, so I had to like wing it because I definitely didn't study. And I cried, but it was like, Dr. Childs, Dr. Wilcox. I finished the speech, and he graded me on it, and I remember him pulling me to the side, and he was like, I'm gonna give you this grade. He only took off a letter grade for not having the visuals. And then he took off another grade because he knew I didn't really study. So I ended up getting a C, which I could have got less than that. But he was like, no, there's no crying in baseball. And I was crying in the middle, like crying in front of the whole class. And I just like shook it off, and I finished it. And he was like, anybody else would have ran for the door and got out of here. He's like, but you did it. And I ended up having him again the semester my mother passed in interpersonal communication. Same thing. Like, he came to me and he was like, I don't know how you kept coming back in here. He was like, I know you got kind of thrown off. I know the attendance. He was like, but if you can show me you understand the course, and you can pass your final, you can do this, that, and the third. He was like, I'll grade you based off of that, and he didn't. He was like one of the only teachers that passed me that semester. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like I really didn't start because I felt like I never finished anything. It was like, felt like life just kept happening. Like even now at 38, like life happens, but it's just like, I just like I seen my parents fight, so I got it in me. So it's like I know, like, the reward and like just not giving up. And so again, I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling back to goals. Like I didn't really start setting goals for myself and believing in myself until, let's say, 2024, maybe like 2019.
Fresh in this.
Yeah, fresh in this. Because I've always been in survival mode, so it was like I never really like had time to sit down and think about, like anything beyond like survival.
That's a hell of a stage to be in. That's why one of my biggest passion and purposes is to teach young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, how to utilize their story to increase more sales and attract more clients and customers. Because your story is so powerful, like just the skill. If you focus on a skill and you master it, you don't got to be a master, but you master a skill, you make it good for yourself, you tap into your it's a gift and a skill is two different things. I think a lot of people confuse that with talent. They're like, oh, I'm talented, but that doesn't mean you're skilled. That means you're gifted because you're talented. So when I realized the skill of communication is the highest form of compensation, and even with the inner voice, like Les Brown said that his biggest thing, he did a course called Focus on the Seller, which is teaching salesmen how to sell themselves first on themselves. Like, don't worry about knowing the product. Know yourself so well and convince yourself, because people buy into energy sales. So me knowing that, I'm like, I'm going to become the master at story selling. So storytelling, but story selling, because it's natural to communicate story. So if you're a real estate agent and you're showing houses, you want to say, well, this comes with X amount of feet, it has the bathroom here, the 2-bathroom. No, you want to have an idea, do they have kids? What are their jobs? Do they like in-home office? Do they like, working out? and then paint that picture. See right here, you got this lovely space right. Imagine having a workout studio. Or see, you got this room right here. Imagine your office setup right here. You can see out in the backyard, the kids playing. You got to paint a vision, tell a story that includes them in it so they can buy into it. So when I noticed that, I'm like, hey, you know what? Sports commentators, giving statistics and telling stories and backgrounds, newspapers, the media, marketing, advertisements, commercials, product models, descriptions, music, television shows, cartoons, books. Like storytelling is everywhere. You can't get away from it. Even when you get around family picnics. Man, girl, I'll tell you about my day. Man, you gonna get my nephew in the book. Like, it's in us. It's innate. Yeah. So it's like, it's natural already. So how do we take that, shape that, cultivate it, and form it into a lifelong legacy to build generational wealth? Story.
You just never know, like somebody might hear your story. That's why I loved working with the youth. I worked with them as long as I did that, and it was just like that was my village. You know what I mean? Like my son, like you know what I mean? Like not having his father in his life, and just having me working for a company or being in an environment where like there are men, like Black men in there who are, you know, just positive role models, and not just for my son, but for other kids, you know, as well. I actually did an activity with the middle schoolers, and I loved it, and they loved it too. So it was basically like Shark Tank.
Okay.
So what I did, it was like, you know, we build on each week. So that first week we sat down, all right, I'm gonna give y'all some paper. I want y'all to come up with a business, like think of a business that you would like to, you know, have of your own, and come up with the name for it. And then also come up with like, you know, your different services or products, right? And so they're like, what? So some of the girls are like, okay, I want to have a hair salon. Some of the guys was like restaurants or different things like that. So they all had their different things, and they were in groups. So, and everything had to be STEAM based, so science, you know what I mean, like all of that. And so, so one week it was that, and then the following week it was like, all right, so for each of these products and services, come up with a price point for them, and then like we're gonna sit down, okay, how much money if you did, you know, just do different scenarios. If you sold this many of these in a day, how much money is that, and then how many days a week are you gonna be open? And so let's say you sell this many of this or whatever within a week, how much money do you make? So kids, like, they wheels are turning. They're like, ooh. I'm like, okay, so that's in a week. How much in a month? In a year, you know, so they're like, ooh, so they really get into it, right? So then here comes the art, my favorite part. So then they got the poster boards, and they do a floor plan. What do you want your business to look like? Okay. So they're doing that, they drawing that or whatever. So then the next one, it's like, all right, so now y'all got to come up with a pitch, like your business proposal. Like, you know, we had like link bucks or whatever, like fake money, but they could buy things with it. And so I'm like, you can get this many. So in order for you, like I'm the bank, and you coming to me and telling me why I should give you this much money. But like you're pitching your business to me and telling me like what you're gonna do with the money, like, you know what I mean, and tell me about your business and all that. And so like it was cool. Like the kids really enjoyed it, and I think it really just kind of like I was able to share a little bit of that entrepreneur, because it was like, okay, I feel like if somebody would have did that with me, like, because I taught myself how to braid hair, I taught myself like drawing and stuff like that. I used to do poetry, like all these different things, and you know, just me seeing people that look like me, right? And people who are taking the time to come and sit with me, and you know, some of them were challenging students, but like those are the ones I really want. Like, bring them with me; they can come and sit with me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times those kids, like, they just needed something to, you know, somebody to challenge them, or somebody to listen to them, or somebody, you know what I mean? Just like, I just felt like I related with them a lot, and you know, just the importance of like just being able to give back and showing kids like, okay, yeah, you can make mistakes and you can do things that, you know what I mean, like that may kind of detour you from going to where, or you know, from where you're supposed to go, or where, you know, your parents may want you to go, but that doesn't mean your life is over. It doesn't mean that you don't have value. It doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. And just showing them, okay, like, oh, like I can, like the kids like to do art. Okay, you can, you know, illustrate for, you know, a cartoon or for a comic book or whatever. Just there's so many different possibilities, and like, you know, me bringing my work in there and letting the kids see it. And things like, oh, you made this, like Miss Endia, like what you know, what's this, like, and just, you know, showing representation matters.
That part. So shout out to Craig Moore, Black Excellence KC. Yeah, they got that segment on the news. Representation matters.
It does. It does.
You heard about it?
No, but
you need to get your representation. Definitely. All right, so as we come into a close, wrapping up, I definitely want to keep this conversation going because it's interesting, but I know for time matters. I like to end with rapid questions, so I have 4 rapid questions, and then I have at the end as a bonus the life advice you would give to anyone 25 and below that is still seeking to find their purpose or feel stuck in life right now.
Mm-hmm.
What life advices you can give? So the first random rapid fire question is comparison. Time or money?
Which
Which one you picking? Time or money? I can't give you no info, no context. Time or money? I give you no context. Which one more important to you? Time or money?
Dang, I was about to cuss.
It's rapid
Time.
question. Time. Goals or relationships?
Relationship.
And if there would be one word that describes who you are, what would that word be?
Endurance.
And then when it's all said and done, because we all have our time in the lives, under 2 sentences or less, what would you like the words to be on your tombstone?
Thank you for healing for your gifts.
That was an evil Coretta laugh. 101 Dalmatians. Are you sure?
But
Take a moment. I'll share mine while you're thinking. Mine was.
Don't be trying to show me up either.
Mine was. I mean, it's a lady on Facebook I met, Delia King. She was also a Cancer Gift recipient. She had a beautiful statement. Said it was something around here lies the sun will never rise again. I was like, ooh, that shit was powerful. I didn't say how she said it, but it was beautiful. I got to check out the episode. But mine is live as God, die a message.
Mm-hmm.
Something you got to think about, huh?
Yeah, something I gotta think about. I mean, it's like there's a lot of words, right, that a person could probably, or a lot of things I could say that like the person may remember me by, but I'm real big on like my actions. So I feel like people will probably definitely remember me more for who I was to them.
But that doesn't matter. It's your tombstone. You say what you want to leave behind about yourself, or what you want when people come visit your grave, what type of message you want to give them. Because it's your last words on the tombstone. It's either something about you or something you want people to know about life. Or themselves, based on your experience.
Yeah, more than your past.
See, look at you. You trying to think too hard. You are more than your past. That is so philosophical. You get that.
Because a lot of times, people will, like for myself, like, I mean, it's a lot of people now that self-hold in my social media was, years ago. And it's like, I don't even live there no more. Like, that ain't even, you know what I mean? Like, you still remembering me from, something I did or, whatever years ago or whatever. And it's like, you ain't even took time to realize or to see, like, how hard I fought to, spite everything that was thrown my way. Because, I mean, I've had more hurdles than what, like, like the time say censored, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to really go into detail of, like, everything that, like, the cards that life has dealt me. But it's like, like, a lot of people didn't have the opportunity to make it past, like to get up and try again or, like shame will hold you in bondage and, like, stop you, quicker than anything.
And survivor's remorse.
That part.
Survivor's remorse, and then the other big one that I faced was what they call it when you get like this guilt. Not that's survivor's remorse, but when you don't feel like you're good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called? We got a word for it.
I don't know.
Survivor's remorse is when you made and everybody else did, and you trying to get back and keep this thing out. It's another word that I face.
Yeah, you mean like, I know for me a lot of times.
Imposter syndrome. That's what. So
Would that be imposter syndrome? I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
survivor's remorse is what I face because I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been locked up, I'm starting the game. Maybe I should say what's the name, but I'm clear. Don't worry about it. My paperwork is good now. But yeah, I'm gonna say with the RICO Act, I had an undercover duty officer give me a heads up when I was still in high school because I was on the football team and all that. And he told me they put a case around me and I had to stop everything. And then later on that summer, I think, or was that before? I think that was before or after, but eventually I ended up checking the numbers, making that phone call, telling everybody it's done. Around that time, it was almost up to 300 numbers. It was in 5 different cities and states. And when I did get locked up, it was people in the jail representing my set and they didn't know who I was. So I wanted a big shot. So that's why today I'm a different way. So my gift is I'm a natural organizer, I'm a natural leader. So if I can do that in the streets at 15, building up something so big, then what can I do that's similar like that in the business level?
Yeah.
That's how I love how you said that on your tombstone. Because my live as a God dies a message is the creative spirit of you. Just create, live as God, be a creator and be intentional about it. And die a message means let your walk of life be a message and testimony to others that they can do as well. What's possible. So as we wrap up, life advice, 2 minutes. To those that's 25 years and younger, even if those are older, but those out there that are stuck, not knowing their purpose and looking to find their purpose and just looking how to get out of that survival stage of living since you've been through it. What advice do you give to those who are living in survival mode but want more for themselves?
Well, I'm still in it from time to time, but what I would say is like get out of your own way. And, don't be afraid to, ask for help when you need it. Don't feel like, the things that you've done in your past or, whoever you were yesterday, like, because of the mistakes that you made, like that you can't do better or be better because that's absolutely false. Like the moment you decide, what, I want more for myself, I want better, just do it. Don't sit around and wait for nobody to support you. Don't sit around and wait for people to believe in you. You have got to do it. You got to believe in yourself and love yourself enough to be like, you know what? I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna do this if they laughing. I'm gonna do this if they don't support. I'm gonna do it because what I've learned is a lot of times the people that you think or you want to support you may not always show up for you in the way that you expect them to. But I'm spiritual. God will always put the right people, and this is from my experience. He's always placed me in rooms with people to help move me in that next direction, whether it's like physically moving me or like mentally just inspiring me. So believe in yourself enough to like put in the work, and sometimes you might have to isolate yourself. Like everybody can't go. Like, you know what I mean? You can't take everybody with you, and like don't be afraid to like miss out. Like you missing out on temporary fun to build a future for yourself. You can't put a price tag on that. So
I like it. Well, you all, there you have it. Part 1, because there will be another episode coming soon into the new year with Miss Soy Bella, Endia, and I've never tried to pronounce your last name. How do you pronounce your last name? Lasker. Endia, Lasker. I like that. Kind of rhyme a little bit. Just no R though. But thank you all for joining. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. And before we get up out of here, let the people know what product or what project and service that's coming out recently and where can they follow you.
So you can follow me on Facebook. It's Soy Bella. Also, I have Instagram. It's at Soy Bella _candles. And so right now I have my latest collection, which is the Cozy collection. It's 2 different scents. They come in the 10-ounce glass candles with the crackle and wood wicks, and they are decorated with healing crystals and dried flowers. You can purchase those directly through me. If you follow me on my social media platforms, I will be posting flyers of upcoming events and different things like that. However, I do have the option of you purchasing through me directly, so that way you don't have to wait. And this is all up until I get my website back up and going. So.
Awesome sauce. Okay? I love it. I love it. And thank you for joining the Many Different Podcasts.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. And that is all, folks. So as we always wrap up, always remember, sharpen your awareness, Katie Intelligence.
Like a Zam, I ain't acting, I'm just speaking what I see behind the lens. Even though I'm speaking roles, the creator I am.
Manifest, elevate. You won't be okay. I'ma focus on myself in a way. Give you love, give you eyes, show you the way. I plant the seeds and watch them blossom. Our soul is power, solar power. We don't fold, we don't know no cowards. We expose those who hide our power. Self-conquer, watch the rest devour.